What's going on? It's your boy KC Boxing Channel. I'd like for all my subscribers, and if you can, all American channels, look at this interview of Eddie Hearn. He is keep insisting that this fight will not take place on December the 1st. If I'm not mistaken, in this interview, he says that it is a 50-50 chance that this fight will go on. Now, I don't know what else you can do to satisfy him, but I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry for my language, but that is how I feel about Edward Hearn. And also, he disrespect Shelley Finkel. He disrespect him in the most horrible way as far as a young man about an older man, which is his elder, which is his older peer. So just watch the interview and tell me, and leave a comment and tell me what you think. And also, this is courtesy of IFLTV. And we will talk later, and I also will be doing another video. Now, hit that like button if you like this video, what you're about to hear, because it's massive. So, therefore, especially pay attention to the anger and disgust he has for Shelley Finkel, and how he called him and his father old men with a combined age of 100-something years. He disrespected Shelley Finkel and his father. Years don't have anything to do with you bullshitting Edward. So, without that, I would like for you to subscribe to my channel. I'm a new decorative channel, and I do need subs. And once you sub to me, you will get a notification each and every time I upload a video. But let me remind you that you do have to hit the icon bell in order to get the notifications. So, therefore, I'll let you to your video. Peace and love.
It's quite standard over there for obviously
celebs,
sort of royalty and that kind of level. So obviously that's how I was perceived in Ukraine. So I was actually quite. I went to the WBC show and I was quite popular out there. So I'm thinking about moving out there actually.
You were actually quite popular in Jeddah as well.
I was, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were. I will say that. You were popular in Jeddah.
It's just the UK, really. We'll see how we get on in America.
Alright, let's start with this week's show. Here
first
at
one.
The Wintrust Arena here in Chicago. It's the first Matchroom DAZN show. I know DAZN are obviously up and running with their shows, but this is kind of, your first one. So yeah, big opportunities for Callum Johnson and also Gavin McDonnell, both in world title fights. How did they fare?
Well, I think firstly it's a great show. I mean, it's our first American show, something obviously I'm very proud of. And when you look at it from top to bottom, it's, you know, obviously you've got 3 world championship fights. You've got Delorme against Vargas, which I think is going to be a brilliant fight. You've got Big Baby Miller on as well. And, you know, the 3 world title fights, you've got Farias against Jessica McCaskill from Chicago. It's going to be a great fight. You've got Beterbiev against Johnson, like you said, and Gavin McDonnell against Danny Roman for the WBA title. So it's a packed night, and I'm looking forward to it, particularly, as we said when we launched this venture, that it's going to open up opportunities for our British guys to challenge for world titles. And on our first show, you've got 2 Brits challenging for world titles that probably wouldn't have got this opportunity without our DAZN deal. Yeah. So it's great for everybody, and both got very, very tough fights. I mean, look, the Callum Johnson fight against Beterbiev it's going to be brutal. There's no way to, you know, tint it up with rose petals. It's going to be a brutal fight. Beterbiev is one of the most dangerous fighters, pound for pound, in boxing. Callum Johnson is on a roll, has something inside him that I believe in, and I believe he feels he can take this chance. He can punch very hard as well, but it's going to be extremely brutal, that fight. And then, you know, Gavin McDonnell, I think, has got a good chance as well. Danny Roman's one of the best super bantamweights in the division. He's gone out at 1 big fights in Japan. But Gavin's been there, you know, he's experienced it. He's got a great coach in Dave Caldwell. So why not? And I'm just really looking forward to the show. And another great thing about these shows coming in from America is, you know, the time difference, because they're so stacked, and DAZN are showing every fight, and Sky are going to show every fight on the international feed, but it still means Sky are going to show McCaskill against Farias, Miller against Adamek, McDonnell against Roman, Beterbiev against Johnson, and Vargas against Delorme. So you haven't even got to wait up late to see the Brits fight for world titles. So I think it's great all round. And, you know, DAZN have had a good start, the numbers are strong already, and obviously we're up against it this weekend with McGregor. But we'll be done and dusted before McGregor walks to the octagon. And, you know, I'm hoping that the US fight fans enjoy stacked nights of boxing, because I don't care what you say. You look at other cards in America, they're nowhere near as stacked as this. Yeah, they may have a stronger main event than this particular one, but like, even the pay-per-view shows. You know, you watched Canelo against Golovkin the other week. You had Spike O'Sullivan lost in a round, and that was about it. So we want to give massive value to people in the arena and watching at home. And that's something I hope that the US fight fans will resonate with, understand, and know that when Matchroom do shows, it is a huge show with plenty of entertainment. And so good for the young kids as well. You know, 3 debutants on this card, some of the best amateurs in America that we've signed. Reshat Mati, Nikita Ababi, heavyweight Nikosi Solomon. Every fight is televised. So they're not just stuffed on, you know, that no one can see them. So it's good. It's a learning experience. Obviously, it's the first show that DAZN have done full production for, so everyone's a little bit nervous. But they've got a great team, great talent pool, and, you know, as we say, we're just getting started. Literally, you know, the first US show, a couple of days away.
I see a few people on social media kind of saying that with the Americans out there, they've kind of got the better deal, because they pay for DAZN and they get our stuff and our pay-per-views for that kind of that one price that they pay. How much is it? $9.99
a month, yeah,
dollars.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're paying, you know, you're signing up essentially to pay $9.99 a month. So, I just feel like you've got a great deal for DAZN as an American fight fan when you've got $89 for a pay-per-view or $100 for a pay-per-view. I mean, sometimes, don't get me wrong, Canelo Golovkin was a good fight, so maybe people feel like we got value for money. But it's 70 quid. It's a huge amount of money. So you're getting, what, 7 months or 8 months with the first free trial of content on DAZN for one night of pay-per-view. And then you had the Canelo pay-per-view, then you've got the Fury Wilder pay-per-view, then you've got probably another Canelo pay-per-view in December. It's a lot of money. I mean, I know we get stick for £19.95, and I still appreciate, and I would never say, oh, it's only £19.95, what's the matter with you? Because when you're paying for your Sky bill or your, you know, another bill or your Netflix, it does add up. But when you're paying $90 for a pay-per-view. I think that's incredible. So I think DAZN gives fight fans great value for money, and so does ESPN Plus. You know, they're probably our main competitor, but we want people to embrace those streaming services and think about the value for money in America you're getting for those. You know, get ESPN Plus, get DAZN. It's $15 a month for the two. I mean, ESPN have great content, so do we. So as a fight fan, I mean, DAZN would do so well in the UK because at $9.99 a month, £7 a month with the content that's on, it's phenomenal. And you know, our role now is to make sure that we can let the US fight fans know, which I think we've done a good job already, about DAZN, about the value, and then of course do what you have to do, which is bring in the casual market, educate them about DAZN. DAZN is not a boxing channel; it is a sports platform, and there'll be announcements coming soon about other sports on the platform. And you know, I think they're going to do very well.
Is it fair to say that you're still in search of your marquee American signing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, obviously Anthony Joshua boxed on the platform. We've signed Usyk; he's fighting on the platform. We've got Maurice Hooker, Danny Roman, Beterbiev, Tevin Farmer, all world champions. So what are we up to? 5 or 6 world champions, the unified heavyweight world champion, the undisputed cruiserweight world champion. So I'm really pleased with the talent that we've got, but sure, we need to, and DAZN want us to, attract that big name, or that 1 or 2 big names, whether it's Canelo, whether it's Golovkin, whether it's Mikey Garcia, that kind of level of guys, and we'll get them. I've absolutely no doubt, because what's happening at the moment is they're being given false promises by people about things they might get. I mean, at the moment, it seems that there's about 400 fights on the Fury Wilder card. You know, I'm fighting December 1. Are you? You sure about that? Oh, I've got a pay-per-view in January. Really? Oh, now I've got a pay-per-view in February. Have you? And then it won't happen. So at the moment, it's very easy for other people to say, I'll match that. I'll give you 3 fights a year. Oh, good. Okay, I'll stay with you. But then when they don't materialise, that's when we have a great chance. And you know, we're in the hunt. We're in the hunt, and we haven't really spent a great deal of money yet. So we've got so much money to spend, so much money, and it's getting the mix right between running a proper business and knowing that we have to overpay fighters. So DAZN might say to me, "Just give him the money," and I'm like, no, we've got to run a proper business here. You know, we can't overpay someone by 100% all the time, because what happens for the next fight and the next fight? You're not going to have a sustainable business. We appreciate we have to pay more than anybody in the current marketplace, and we are prepared to do it. And more people are coming to us, whether they want to find out what the deal is and then go back to others to get a better deal for them, quite a lot of the time, or whether they've had enough, or whether they want to be a part of this new movement. And I appreciate as well that I don't feel like you're taking a chance, but I understand that fighters, because of what they're hearing in terms of people trying to fill their head with negativity to stop them from doing it, they feel like they're taking a chance. Now, Mikey Garcia might feel like he's taking a chance leaving Showtime, joining DAZN. I think absolutely not. But I have to prove the platform, I have to prove the quality of the fight nights, and there's nothing like word of mouth, you know? People like Jesse Vargas, great ambassadors of the game, who are enjoying being with Matchroom, enjoying the profile, the limelight, and being main event, being the A-side, and boxing. If he wins on Saturday night, I'll give him his next fight day as he leaves the ring. And there'll be no bullshit. It won't be, yeah, you're fighting then, son, and then it comes round. Oh no, actually, it's September. Then you get to September, oh, it's December, and before you know it, it's January. So we have the ability to give you the schedule, pay you more money than anyone else, and work with what I feel is the best promotional team in boxing.
The implications of HBO removing themselves from their regular boxing Saturdays and whenever, what does that do for you and the rest of the American
I think it's quite sad, to be honest with you, because you know, one of the proudest moments in my career was probably doing a deal with HBO, with Danny Jacobs. You know, I'm trying to do things that others before haven't done, and there hasn't really been many promoters that have gone in and promoted shows, British promoters who have promoted shows in America and done network deals with HBO. there certainly hasn't been any that have gone and done a deal like I've done with DAZN to promote 16 shows in America. But you know, when I worked with HBO, I was extremely proud of being able to get on that platform, and it's a name and a brand synonymous with the sport of boxing. It's got what we're lacking at the moment, you know, which perhaps is that credibility or that name value, that brand value in HBO. So I thought it might be on the cards, because I have to say, the market's gone nuts. And I just think they've looked at it and said, we don't want to be in this market. We don't feel like, with the money that we need to pay to keep the big stars and the ratings that are being delivered, we're going to get value for money. And they might be right. You know, I mean, I class Peter Nelson as a friend, and he's a very, very nice, respectable guy. And I think he's looked at it, he's taken the emotion away. It's a bit like having a football club, you know, where you just, sometimes you can get so wrapped up in something that you just keep going and you spend it. We'll do that. No, sign him. We'll do that. Let's get him in. Get that fight. Sign that centre forward. And before you know it, you look at the business and you think, what the fuck's going on with this bit? Am I mad? I've done my absolute conkers. And there's so many promoters out there in world boxing that have no understanding of where they are financially. They just act on ego and bluster, and they're all potless. These guys that go around and promise this and don't pay, and you know, I'll pay you that, and then 3 months later you haven't been paid, and then we have to sell some tickets to pay. It's an unbelievable business. One of the only businesses in the world where this happens. So HBO, I think, have just decided it's madness, and we're going to step out. I think you'll see them again. I do, because when people say, oh, you know, HBO have left because the sport is dying. Bollocks, the sport's dying. The sport's never been stronger. Look at the players you got. Showtime, ESPN, DAZN, more coming in, who are spending, Fox, who are spending a fortune, more than ever. It's a great time to be a fighter, a great time for the sport. But I think HBO just looked at the value they were getting and they said, we don't want to carry on the fight. And if you're not willing to roll your sleeves up and have a fight on the business side of boxing right now in America, you might as well go home, because you've got no chance. You've got no chance. If you're not up for the fight, if you haven't got the deep pockets, don't even bother, because it's a complete and utter, don't even know the word, it's just gone nuts. So we couldn't do it without DAZN. I wouldn't be here. You know, if I didn't have this deal with DAZN, I wouldn't even go near the American market. It's gone absolutely berserk. But I can do it, I can compete, and I believe in my team. I'm talking about operationally. I believe in myself, and I think we can do it. And that drives me on to work as hard as I can to try and make a success of our American business, something that's never been done before. We're up against it. No one wants to succeed. Most people think I'm a knob, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and we will get there, and we'll be successful.
Knob status.
Knob status. Do you know how many people? I should never have done that, because literally, where was I the other day? Liverpool Street. Come out off the train. Geezer went, Eddie, you're a knob. But really loud across the whole thing. And I just went, and I thought, what a liberty. And then I thought, oh no, it's that video. So I should never have done that.
Shouldn't have done a lot of things, but anyway.
What can I say?
Right. You sent another offer to Team Wilder, Shelley, Finkel, etc. What can you tell us about what's in that?
I'm not going to go into the offer. I mean, it was much improved. It was a percentage offer, and you know, I'd rather not talk about negotiations across social media. It's really frustrating, because I feel like we've almost been stitched up this whole time with the whole thing, to be honest with you. And I think they've done a great job to make it look like Joshua doesn't want to fight Deontay Wilder, which you couldn't be more wrong, right? And I don't know what else we can do. You know, we made them an offer. We know they accepted the deal. We sent them a contract. They never come back to us. Then all of a sudden, that was a shit offer, even though they accepted it. So we don't want a flat fee. We want a percent. So we go back. We ask for a meeting, just a meeting. You know, not with Deontay Wilder. He's got a fight coming up. With your advisors to try and make an undisputed fight in April. That's all we want to do. No, we're not meeting you. The same thing they said when they made the offer. An offer which we know now was backed by Frank Warren and BT. So the fight was never going to happen anyway. And yet, all of a sudden, surprisingly, we turned it down and they ended up fighting Fury. What a surprise. We'll come on to that. So, they won't have a meeting to discuss their offer. Now, we've just said, can we have a meeting? You know, we can't make this fight an undisputed fight at the end of December. It's going to take months to negotiate. Can we just have a meeting, see if we can find any common ground? No. All right. Can we send you an offer? Yes. Send us an offer and then we'll have a meeting. Okay. Sent them the offer. These are the dates we can do. Thanks for your offer. We don't want to meet you because we're going to wait till the Fury fight. What's that got to do with it? The offer's dependent on you winning. We think you're going to win. If you lose, we can't do the fight anyway. But we can't wait to start negotiating in December because it's not something that's going to get done in a day. It's so frustrating that these people will not have a face-to-face meeting. How do you think you negotiate a super fight? Over an email, and then you tell some media that someone sent an email, and it is, and only the smart people can see it. That's the frustrating thing. And I'll try and break it down and say, what more do you want us to do? You know, if you think I'm a knob, or if you think we're playing games or we don't want it, tell us what we should do. We make an offer, they accept, we send a contract. We don't hear back. We make another offer, a revised offer. We ask for meetings, they say no. It's impossible. And it's Shelley Finkel's job to plan the future of his client. Not say, oh no, we're concentrating on a Fury fight. No, your fighter concentrates on a Fury fight. You plan the future for your fighter. And you're not prepared to have a meeting to discuss an undisputed heavyweight world championship fight. The biggest fight in boxing. I don't know what else we can do. It is really, really frustrating. And, you know, I feel like this whole thing, this whole time, was a ploy to raise Wilder's profile and to fight Fury. And I have to say, they've done a great job. They've done a great job because the whole Fury-Wilder fight is a fight built off Anthony Joshua's name. And they've done a really, really good job. You know, a lot of people talk about Shelley, and he's a wily old fox. And I think they've played a good game. They've made people think that Joshua don't want the fight. Couldn't be more wrong. They've made people think they've even tried in the negative. They haven't even tried. They haven't even raised a finger. What do you think Shelley Finkel does day to day? Nothing. He's got one fighter. And he's made that fight. His job's done. He can't have a coffee for half an hour or an hour in New York. He ain't doing anything else other than falling over on stage. So, it's done. But so frustrating. And if I'm Deontay Wilder, how... Like, you imagine that Anthony Joshua wanted this fight, right? And they were calling me saying, could we just have a meeting to discuss this fight? And Joshua wanted the fight. And I said, no. Joshua would say to me, what are you doing? I say, no, I ain't meeting them. They don't want the fight. Yeah, but they're asking for a meeting, so why don't you go and see them, see what they've got to say? No. No, I'm not meeting them. It's absolute bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. I would meet someone, you know, I don't care who it is. If there's an opportunity for one of my fighters, I meet people. I try and deliver the best for my fighters. I try and deliver the biggest fights for my fighters. I go to meetings. I'm on the phone till 3 or 4 in the morning trying to deliver fights. And you won't have a fucking cup of coffee to discuss an undisputed heavyweight world championship fight. Do me a favour. Suck my nuts. Whatever else you've got to say. It's unbelievable. It's not as if the man's busy. Anyway, rant over, because it drives me nuts.
So, okay, I know you're not going to go into obviously what's in the offer, but it is a split as opposed to a flat fee, yeah?
And it's a 2-fight, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's a double rematch. Because they agreed to the
double
terms.
Rematch?
Yeah, they agreed to the terms in the first one. Right? Which is a
rematch.
one-way rematch.
Right.
Then they come out and said, oh, it was a one-way rematch. You fucking agreed to it in writing. And then you go public and say, oh, it was ridiculous. You agreed to it. So this time, we put 2 fights in. But still, we can't have a conversation. We can't even discuss a deal for the undisputed heavyweight world championship. People who moan on social media, fucking smarten up. What more do you think we can do? Anyway, I wasn't going to rant about it, but it's so frustrating.
So yeah, you're not going to hear anything until
So
after
we have to play.
December 1st.
We can't wait till mid-December for our next.
So
fight.
what do you start doing then? If you're not going
We'll
to wait,
probably
until
go back and say, no, and if he's watching this video, which I know he will, Shelley, just meet my old man. You're two lovely old fellas who can have a nice cup of coffee in New York and talk about old times. I mean, they've got a combined age of 150, Shelley and my old man. You know? And they're both smart men. Shelley hates me, right? This is why I've sent in the old school artillery in my old man. My old man can't believe this. We got an email this morning saying we're not going to meet you. He's like, they're fucking around. Are these people
This
mad?
morning?
Yeah, that's when we got the email.
Oh, right.
Well, first he went to social media
Yeah.
and told them, and then he sent us a reply. My dad's just can't make it out. So I've just said to my old man, Bazza, leave it, because he gets agitated. You know what I mean? He's had a heart attack about 20, 30 years ago. He's got to stay out of boxing, but it's getting on his tits. I said to him today, stay out of it, because you know you're going to get wound up. Leave it to me. But I want him to have the meeting because I'm never going to do a deal with Shirley. You know. My old man's the one to do the deal, and we can't believe it. We cannot believe it. And how you can be thick enough to sit at home and think that we're not trying to make an effort to make this fight. It's frightening. Instead, you've got a couple of mates who have talked to each other for years and years, who like text each other and call each other and made a fight on a phone, now pretending they hate each other and it's the biggest fight in the heavyweight division. You've got a guy who's falling over on camera pretending to have a heart attack because they've sold $1 million worth of tickets in 25 minutes. Do you know something? If I sold $1 million worth of tickets in 25 minutes for a Joshua fight, you know what I'd do? I'd fall on the floor and have a heart attack in shock as well, because it would be a fucking disaster. 25 minutes. If we haven't sold $5 million worth of tickets in 10 minutes for a Joshua fight, it's a disaster. He sold over $10 million a fight at the gate for his last 4 fights. I mean, that shows you the level of these people, that they're actually putting it out there to the press, that they've sold $1 million worth of tickets. What's that? 5,000, 6,000 tickets? Do me a favour. So, you know, we'll let them do their thing. It's a very good fight. I still stand by what I say. I'm not 100% convinced it happens.
Ed,
What?
you can see how people will think you come across a little bit better about this fight happening.
I'm not bitter. I just want us to fight Deontay Wilder. And I'm not bitter about the fight happening. I'm bitter that people are so clueless that they think we don't want this fight or we're not trying to make this fight. So about this fight, if you think that I'm being bitter because I say there's a chance it doesn't happen, of course there's a chance it doesn't happen. Fury's now got to go into a training camp to fight a top class heavyweight. If he went through a training program now, the same training program that Joshua goes through, or Dillian White goes through, or probably Deontay Wilder goes through, I don't believe he will make the fight. But I don't know what he's going to do with his training. But until that bell rings, and listen, I do hope the fight happens, because it is a very good fight to find out who the second best heavyweight in the world is. But for Wilder to sit there and say, this is the fight to tell you who is the best, don't be fucking daft. It's not. Everyone knows the number one heavyweight in the world is Anthony Joshua. And until you beat Anthony Joshua, you are not the number one heavyweight in the world.
Yeah, but you can say that about Wilder and Fury until you beat Wilder or Fury.
What, number 2?
No, but could you say that? Could you argue that?
No. It's absolutely clear who is the number one heavyweight in the world. Anthony Joshua. Unquestionably. So what that fight is a really good fight to tell you who number 2 is. We already know who number 2 is, Deontay Wilder. Can Fury become number 2? Or can Wilder stay at number 2? But understand
All right,
this.
okay, so if Anthony Joshua retired today,
Yeah.
okay, without having fought Wilder or Fury, he and you would be happy to say that he's the greatest heavyweight of this generation?
Of course not.
Okay.
Or of this generation. No, I'm telling you, understand what I said. He's the number one heavyweight in the world right now. He hasn't even started. He's had 22 fights. He's boxed Povetkin, Klitschko, Parker, Dillian White, Takam, Dominic Brazil, Charles Martin. He's had 22 fights. He's head and shoulders #1 heavyweight in the world. But Wilder's good. He's dangerous. But he ain't #1. So if you don't fight #1, how can you be #1? What is it he says? One belt, one man, one champion, baby. Yeah, you know what, mate? You've got one belt and Joshua's got 3. 4 if you include the IBO. So, one belt, one man. Yeah, you've got to fight #1, mate. Otherwise, what you always say is totally irrelevant. So, there you go.
All right. Well,
you can ask me whatever you want.
No,
you can keep debating with me.
No, I know. I'm just...
Ultimately, you'll be wrong.
No, but I do think since you originally said that, oh, this fight wouldn't happen, etc., I think you've kind of just...
I think I actually said in my interviews, I would say this fight is 50-50 whether it happens. I think if you look back at our interviews, I think I've said that.
I think you categorically did not said this fight ain't going to happen. This was when it
I
was
said
originally
did I not say it'd be announced, but I don't believe it'll happen? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the fight's 2 months out now. What other reason have we got to think that the fight won't happen now? Like,
don't know.
Is
there an escrow?
All the questions... No, but listen, the venue, which you said about, named. The date, named.
Well, after the deal will be done, because you can't do a deal without a date or a venue.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
But the fight's happening, come on.
Yeah, but it might happen, yeah.
The fight will happen. You know it's going to happen.
I don't know it's going to happen. How do you know?
Yeah, but you can say that about anything fight. You can say that
Of course
about...
you can.
Yeah, right, but it's...
Of course you can. But when there's a guy...
Povetkin, you could go, oh, that fight might not happen.
No, but you've got to look at track records. You've got to look at fitness levels. You've got to look at how fighters are prepared. And I'm telling you that physically, he's not up to this fight, in my opinion, the way that he could have been in the past. Do you think he's in any physical condition compared to how he was when he boxed Klitschko? Well, you'll probably say, oh...
No, but okay, you said 2 fights back and a 2.5
So the answer's no. The answer's
absence.
no. And when he was in that shape, he pulled out of 2 fights against Klitschko. One with an injured ankle, yeah, when he turned that over, when he went on a run, or something like that.
Klitschko pulled out the first one.
No. Fury pulled out with the ankle. Remember?
Yeah, but that was after Klitschko had pulled out of the original one.
The original fight. I'm talking about the second fight.
Right, okay, yes.
So, I'm not saying that, oh, Fury's scared of Wilder. I think if I thought originally it was 50-50, now they've announced it and they've done everything, I would say it's looking more likely to take place. But I have my doubts whether this fight will happen still. And when it happens, you go, oh, you said it wouldn't happen. Yeah, I said I've got my doubts, and I still have my doubts. It's just my opinion.
You're entitled to your opinion.
And different people with track records, I'll give you an example. All right, Kubrat Pulev, right? When I announced that fight with Joshua, when they signed for that fight, I had my doubts whether he would make it to the ring. I had my doubts. And that's why I got Carlos Takam in. Because I had my doubts that he wouldn't make it through training camp and into the ring. What happened? He didn't make it through training camp. And I have my doubts about this. He may make it, he may not. It's just my opinion. Not trying to be clever. Just how I feel. I think there's a long way to go.
Not that long.
8 weeks.
Yeah, it's not that long.
We ain't started camp yet.
Well, you imagine both of them already in camp.
Are they? Well, they've been travelling around for the last week.
Well, for the last 3 days they've been on a media tour, but...
Where does he go now?
Where?
Back to England or straight to Big Bear?
Big Bear.
Straight there?
To Big Bear, yeah.
Good.
But...
I genuinely hope the fight happens. Genuinely. Because it's a good fight for the heavyweight division.
It's a great fight for the heavyweight division.
I agree. We've agreed on something.
You almost wish you were promoting it yourself.
Yeah, well, of course. It's the second biggest fight in the heavyweight division to make. So, yeah, of course I would like to promote the second biggest fight in the heavyweight division. But I will promote the biggest fight in the heavyweight division, potentially ever.
That could be a choice of two.
Well, again, I mean, Ben Davison said that it's a 2-way rematch clause. I can't believe Shelley would be that stupid. to give a voluntary defence and a rematch to a guy in a voluntary defence. So I'm presuming it's a one-way rematch clause. If it's a two-way fight, we're all wasting our fucking time talking about Wilder Joshua.
Okay. WBC. Let's talk WBC, baby.
Yeah.
Dominic Brazil. It will be mandatory to the winner of Fury and Wilder.
Yeah.
Explain the situation regarding Dillian White.
1 sec. Dillian White wrote to the WBC to make an appeal. I was at the mandatories meeting yesterday. Cut long story short, Dominic Brazil's already been told he's mandatory. We've complained for a while, and they sort of said, we understand, and actually I think they agree with us, but we've already made him mandatory. So he's got to fight the winner.
Okay. So, where does it kind of leave Dillian?
Well, it leaves Dillian hopefully trying to make the Chisora fight for December 22nd. I'm hoping to have that fight done by the end of next week. And then, you know, does he fight Joshua? If so, I think we'll probably have, because of timings, the winner of that fight. That deal needs to be done in advance. So we'll say to maybe even Chisora as well, if you win that fight, the winner of that fight Joshua on April 13th. Because again, you know, that's December 22nd. So we need a deal done before then. End of October, early November, I'd like to know Joshua's plans for April 13th.
How far you're out with the percentage for
Still out.
White and Chisora?
Still out. But, you know, if that fight don't happen, those guys are going to regret it for a very long time. Because there's a lot of money in that fight. And it's a great fight for both. It's a great fight for the British fight fans. And they need to make that fight. They need to make that fight. So it's going to take for someone to go, all right. Well, actually, they're both not going to be over the moon with the deal. But if they're watching this video, Derek Chisora, Dillian White, just be smart. Stay calm, be smart, make your money, have a great fight.
Who's being more awkward with the deal, or is it not like that?
I think both of them, really. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because...
Say awkward, they obviously...
Yeah, it's a tough one because Dillian, you have to say Dillian's the A-side in the fight, right? He's number one with the WBC. He's top 5 of nearly every governing body. He's had a really good run of fights. But you also, it takes 2 to tango. And you can't rule out what Chisora's done, particularly in the Takam fight. And Chisora gambled in that Takam fight, not for fortunes, but gambled that he would win and then could make big money to fight Dillian White. And it worked for him. So he's got to be rewarded as well. So we've got to get the mix right between, you know, Chisora value, White value. They need each other. You tell me, what should the split be for that fight? You're watching this video? Tell me. Give me your opinion on what the split should be in that fight. What do you think? Are you going to answer or not?
No, I'm not. No, because I'll get a call from one of them later on.
Yeah, all right. Well, I won't answer either. Let's see what the fans think. Because the fans know, you know, what's fair and what's not. Sometimes.
Just going through the fights that the WBC ordered.
Campbell against Mikey Garcia.
Yeah, what's going to happen with
So,
that?
I mean, Mikey Garcia looks like he's going to fight Comey,
Richard
who's
Conley,
the IBF mandatory. And if he takes that fight, when that's over, he has to fight Campbell next. I don't expect him to fight Campbell.
I think he'll vacate.
I think Campbell. They made another fight, Fortuna against Abdulev, someone which is like a semi-final eliminator for the WBC. So if Campbell, if Garcia vacates, it'll be Campbell against the winner of that fight for the vacant title. Probably get Luke out in December.
How has Yildirim got a shot at the vacant title?
I don't know.
Durrell.
I don't know.
Because Benavidez has been put champion.
I mean, look, I actually think, and I argued it at the convention, I think Callum Smith should be made WBC champion. You know, he waited and waited for years and years with the WBC. He's had the diamond belt, which he's defended about 4 times. He beats George Groves with the diamond belt on the line. I would have said that he should be in. If they're going to put Benavidez in recess, let Callum Smith be world champion from Diamond champion.
Or at least let him fight for it.
Yeah, but it's difficult when you can't really mandate a fight. It's weird because.
But what use is that Diamond belt then? Apart from a lovely looking belt.
Probably a lovely looking belt. So, you know, Yildirim gets a shot out of nowhere. I think Eubank was ahead, but he said that I think they ruled that Eubank humiliated the WBC.
By doing what?
I don't know. I just saw something that was.
Yeah, I saw it as well, but wasn't sure.
I don't know. But essentially, it's an interim fight because Yildirim is fighting Durrell, and you have to fight Benavidez when he's ready. So it's really an interim shot to fight the winner.
But it's still for the full title.
It is, but Benavidez is champion and he's in recess.
Okay.
So.
Charlo and Golovkin on that list as well?
Listen, there's some brilliant fights ordered by the WBC. I just don't think a lot of them happen. I mean, I can't see Golovkin fighting Charlo necessarily. Do Charlo still even fight? I mean, I know they swan around and what great personalities and characters. They just don't fight. When they fighting next?
Did they knock you back?
One of them did, yeah. But this is one of my arguments. So he comes back and says, no. That money's going to be matched and I'm going to fight like 3 or 4 times a year. Gervonta Davis. Probably the most wasted talent I've ever seen in world boxing. Unbelievable fighter. Should be boxing 4 times a year. He's young. He's fresh. It's madness. And then what happens is they don't fight. They balloon in weight. Then they're trying to get the weight down to fight. You know, would he make the weight in December? I doubt it.
Just coming back to Eubank, obviously rumours keep persisting about his potential fight with James DeGale.
Yeah, December 8, I think.
And we know it's nothing to do with you, but do you know anything about that? And is that happening?
I think DeGale, Eubank apparently happened December 8 on ITV pay-per-view.
Huge fight.
You think?
Yeah, definitely. Do you not think
fight.
that?
Not as big as, obviously, if DeGale was champion, it was for the world title. And Eubanks just lost to Groves. So it could have been massive. It's still a big fight. Great fight. Good fight. But obviously now you've got December 1 pay-per-view Fury Wilder, December 8 pay-per-view DeGale Eubank, and December 22 White Chisora and Frampton against Warrington. So it might be.
You're adding your one last.
I'll just put Calm Brook on December 15 as well. I think we're just saying now. Let's go in January or February. Let's just avoid this nutty month.
Brook Khan definitely not happening in December.
Not definitely, but I think unlikely.
Okay. What have you done with your dates at the Cardiff?
Still held.
But unlikely you'll use.
Yeah, I mean we've got
Brook
this.
Khan.
Look, I would. Ideally, I'd go the 15th with White Chisora. There's no venues. So, unless I go to Millennium Stadium for White Chisora, which don't work, it's an O2 fight, then it has to go December 22nd. I've got no choice. So, like when I look at December now, if I'm talking December 15th for Calm Brook, I'm just saying, go in February. Go early February. Get out of the clutter of madness. Because all those fights are going to get affected. You know, Fury Wilder's coming after Bellew Usyk, which is going to do big numbers.
Yeah, but there's a 3-week gap in that.
Still, mate.
No, I know, but you're talking about December, like back to back, literally week after week.
So if you're going the week after Fury Wilder, December 8's going to be a tough sell.
Yeah.
And now December 22nd is 2 weeks after Eubank and Fury, and 3 weeks after Fury, and now you got White Chisora and Frampton against Warrington. So yeah, it's not ideal for anyone. It's going to be tough. You better be good. You better be good at what you do. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of unhappy fighters. If you're a fighter, do not be on a pay-per-view deal on the wrong platform. Make sure you get your money up front and a guarantee.
Chavez and
Martinez.
Yeah. What's
a weird one, really. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. said something on social media about Maravilla, Sergio Martinez. And he said, well, I'll fight you again. And he went, go on then, let's do it. So Sergio phoned me up and said, do you want to put that fight on? I was like, okay, you ain't boxed for what, 3 or 4 years? He said, no, I know, but I've trained all the time. I think he's been training for a film. He said, like, health-wise, body-wise, I'm better than ever, and I would like to beat him again. So then I spoke to Chavez Jr. He really likes the fight. We were looking at the fight for November 17, but I don't think he makes 168, Chavez, by then. So we're still talking. He may box December 1 on Fury Wilder with Gervonta Davis, Charlo, Mikey Garcia, the other Charlo, Jarrett Hurd. So
On what date?
December 1 on the Fury pay-per-view.
Obviously, all of them fighters are not on that.
Oh, that's what they've said. So, yeah, I don't know whether that fight will happen. It's a nutty fight. Mad fight. And when I first heard about it, I was like, but it does numbers. So we're looking at it, but I'm not sure it's going to get done this year.
What's the crack with Rocky Fielding?
We've got some interesting plans for him for December. Should hear in the next week or so.
What happened to him fighting DeGale? Like, obviously now...
DeGale just wanted too much money. What the money that... It's a good example of pay-per-view. So the money that DeGale wanted, unless that fight was pay-per-view, it was impossible to pay DeGale what he wanted for that fight. And Fielding against DeGale, in my opinion, is not a pay-per-view in this current climate. So we couldn't make the fight. That's it.
Callum Smith, I think you've already said will return next February.
Yeah, I think they're a bit later than that. I think I'd love to do Anfield. You know, and I think
Callum's going to take the right fight for that, or
yeah, but I think he wants that fight. You know, he's WBA champion, WBC Diamond, Ring Magazine champion, so he wants the big fights. Callum probably only has, I don't know, 3-4 fights left before he's ready to hang his gloves up.
What?
Yeah, because he's done it all. You know, he's won the Ring Magazine
How
title.
old is he?
20... No, older than that.
26 or 27?
But, you know, I see him fighting twice in 2019. So you have to sit down with Callum and say, Callum, right, you've won the world title, you're Ring Magazine #1. What do you want to do with your life? Right? What's on your bucket list, your dreams? And I would believe he would say an Anfield fight and a unified or an undisputed fight in Vegas. So that's what I want to deliver for him in 2019. May would be perfect because that's about the right time football season wise, and also when you look at the pay-per-view schedule, we'll probably go January, February with a fight, April 13th with Joshua, and then May would be perfect for Callum Smith. He's got a baby on the way. You know, he can enjoy this year. He'll be out here on Friday, tomorrow. And then let's go and crack Anfield. What a wonderful occasion that would be.
Definitely. Belusek tickets gone, or
About 600 left out of 20,000. Just the sort of quite mid-expensive stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Finished with that card.
No, still got a fight to add. So we got Crawler against Jordan, final eliminator. Josh Kelly's in a good fight, hope to announce that this week. Cordina against Crawler. Cordina against Cardle. And we've got actually another 2 fights to add to that card. But Lowe against Walsh is not happening.
That's on the Fury
Because
card.
Lowe,
Yeah.
no, Lowe is taking a fight on the Fury card, not against Walsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know why I thought that fight
I have no
was...
idea.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's pulled out of that fight. So, Walsh won't be on that card, but I will try and find Walsh a fight. Probably fight that. He might fight Reece Bellotti, actually,
Okay.
end of November. So, just working that out.
So, just run me through your dates.
Okay.
Between now and...
October the 6th, Chicago.
Yes.
A couple of days away. October the 13th, Ritson for the European title. Up to over 7,000 already in Newcastle. Hope we can get to 8, maybe 9. Corner Geordies. Dave Allen, Joshua Buatsi, Glenn Foote against Robbie Davis Jr. It's a great fight, looking forward to it. October the 20th.
Right, stop right there. What is that situation before you move on?
What situation?
What is the situation currently with Billy Joe Saunders?
So October the 9th, the Massachusetts Commission will rule whether they will licence him or not.
On that day?
Yes. If he is not licensed, the WBO will strip him. And they will make... I've already signed a deal with the number 2, Walter Kauton Dokwa, who is the 19-0 kid from Namibia. I've signed a contract with him to fight Andrade if Saunders gets stripped and is not licensed. So October the 9th, the Massachusetts Commission will hear from Saunders, they'll speak to their lawyers, they'll speak to VADA and everybody else and make a decision. If he's not licensed for that fight, and a fight that he's signed a contract with, Paco and the WBO have confirmed they will strip him. And then the vacant title will between...
So the vacant title goes straight
Yeah,
on the line.
they'll probably make it an interim title because he gets a chance to appeal it.
Yeah.
But essentially, it will be Andrade against Namibian kid for the world title. So we have to see. I mean, look, I really want to see Andrade Saunders. Rules have to be followed, and it's completely out of our hands. And I understand UCAD rules are one thing, VADA rules are another thing. He signed up for VADA testing, he failed a VADA test, but in the UK it was allowed, and then you've got the WADA thing, and it's
fucked up all that, isn't it? About rules being different across the government.
Yeah, but if you sign up to a code, that's the code. So, but I think the whole...
Why don't UCAD and VADA follow the same...
Because they're a completely different entity. And that, UCAD's rules is that in competition is the day of the fight, which I actually think is ridiculous, to be honest with you. But that's their rules. So in a UCAD test, which Billy Joe's been taking, he hasn't been failing the test because he's not in competition. If that substance would have been found on Billy Joe on the night of the fight, he would have failed the test. Because in competition means just on the night of the fight, not in training. But with VADA, in competition is when you're training and when you're fighting. It's like that. It's like that. I mean, I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't. I have no idea.
So that's the 20th, okay.
Yeah, so October the 6th, Chicago. October the 13th, Newcastle. October the 20th, Boston. Tevin Farmer as well against James Townsend. Katie Taylor against Serrano. Kid Galahad against Toka Clary. Really good card. October the 27th is John Ryder against Sirotkin at the Copper Box. Cheeseman against Byfield. Jordan Gill against Ryan Doyle. Isaac Chamberlain against Luke Watkins. Jake Ball against Craig Richards. And then later that night is Jacobs Derevenchenko. And our world title triple header from the Madison Square Gardens. November the 3rd, we've got a weekend off. November the 10th, Usyk Bellew. November the 17th, we will announce on Monday. We'll be over here in America.
Not necessarily Vegas.
Possibly, but maybe on the East Coast. Just tying that up now. November the 24th will be Monaco, which will be announced this weekend. December 1, we won't go. December 8, we will go.
With?
In the UK.
Where?
To be announced.
Big Show, Little Show?
Big Show.
Yeah?
Big Show. December 15, maybe America. December 22, White Chisora. December 29, Beach.
Okay, full on. Have we missed anything out?
I don't think so. What's the time now?
We've got to go to the press
20
conference.
to 11. God. Alright.
Alright, well, yeah, got the press conference today. Wayne tomorrow.
If you're in Chicago,
Come down.
come on, there's the marathon on Sunday. I saw Steve Lilly's tweet. He's running the marathon.
Oh, is he here?
Yeah, he must be. Well, he's running the marathon. So
What, quick one on...
he's not running the Chicago Marathon from England.
No. Quick one on Baby Miller. What's the plans?
He's mandated to fight for the regular title. So obviously Char failed a drugs test. So he's probably going to get stripped. So is it
Miller Oquendo.
Miller Oquendo or Miller Trevor Bryant? I don't know. But it's got to beat Adamek first. And then we'll see.
Okay.
Alright.
No problem.
Thanks for coming.
Love it. Chicago, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Never been there before either. It's been good. Alright.